Hi, I'm Nikki. I'm really excited to be here with Tatiana today. I've done her makeup for a few years now, and I'm going to show you how we do a really beautiful wearable no makeup look for daytime and then transform it into a smoked out winged liner for the evening. So I've cleansed and prepped Tatiana's skin. It's really important to have a beautifully moisturized base to start with. And now I'm following that with a foundation. I'm applying the Ilia True Skin Foundation with a foundation brush, which gives a really nice even coverage. And I love that this foundation is all natural and really looks like skin once it's on. I'm taking a little bit of that foundation just down the neck also. Tatiana has the most beautiful long neck, so it's really important that that's a perfect colour match with her face. So now that foundation's done, I've avoided the eye area with that foundation, and the reason for that is I don't want to overload that delicate eye area. Just applying a little bit of concealer now. This is the Sensei Highlighting Concealer, which is really sheer. Tatiana doesn't need a lot of coverage, but we want to make sure that we brighten around the eye area. You can also use this anywhere else that needs a little bit of brightening. So I'm just applying this with the actual applicator it comes with. And then I take kind of a soft fluffy brush and I'm just using that to really buff that into the skin. So the next step, I'm actually going to move straight onto the eyes now. I really want to give that skin a chance to settle before we finish it afterwards. I'm using a NARS shadow primer. What this is going to do is it's really going to even out the skin tone on the eyelids, and it's going to ensure that anything that we apply sits evenly, doesn't crease, and stays on all day and all night. So it looks super natural. This, just applying it with a brush. I think the key when you're doing this is really to try and not get any product in the lash line, but just to focus on applying it on the actual eyelid and taking it kind of around about the crease and slightly above. I'm just doing this on both eyes now, and then we're going to apply a little bit of shadow. It feels very romantic doing your makeup with the sound of the rain outside. I guess that's London weather for you.
I mean, your voice and the sound, I'm just falling asleep.
So now that that shadow base is on the eyes, what I want to do is I just want to define slightly along the lash line. I'm using an Armani pencil for this. This is shade number 2, which is a really soft, warm brown, which is beautiful for Tatiana's bright blue eyes, but actually suits nearly every eye colour. And I'm keeping that pencil so close to the lash line, almost drawing over the root of the lashes. I would say kind of like halfway to 3/4 of the way across the lash line. And then once that's applied, just with a brush, I'm going to blend that line so that we don't see any hard lines and it becomes more like a shadow. And I think this is one of the tricks that you can really master, just to define the lash line and create that no makeup look. So you can see that liner really adds definition to the lash line, but in a very soft and natural way. And actually when you blend it, don't be scared to blend right out around the eye area. And that's how to create that really subtle softness. So what I'm doing now with the same brush, I've just taken a small amount of a very kind of pale peachy shadow, and I'm just pressing this over the same area that we've blended out that pencil. And what that's going to do, in the same way that a powder sets a foundation, this shadow is going to set the eyeliner and make sure that it stays put all day. You can also take the excess of what's on the brush and just run that through the crease to create some really kind of subtle shading. And exactly the same for under the eyes. I think the thing when doing under eyes is you don't need to keep that product too close to the lash line. Actually, if you bring the shadow quite low, it can create quite a lot of definition and look really pretty. Now we're going to move on to brows. I'm going to show you a little trick that I always use for brows. I'm actually going to use soap. No, it's a fixing spray. So water actually doesn't work so well. So this is like a facial mist.
Okay.
But anything that's not moisturizing as a facial mist. And then you put a little bit directly into the soap, and then just use a spoolie, which is one of these, just to kind of comb almost like a paste-like texture through the brows. And I do get lots of questions on how to use this best, because obviously you don't want to see any residue of the soap in the brows. So I always like to comb it through, wait a few seconds for that product to become tacky, and then after it is, then just go back over the top with a finger, and you're almost kind of pressing the brows down to the skin. It also helps you to remove any excess product around the brows.
Because sometimes they can look a little bit white, no?
This is the way to stop that from happening.
Okay.
Exactly. So you're kind of almost pressing that product away and kind of into the brows. And then the brows just lay flat on the skin. So once you've applied that soap and then you've pressed it down to the skin so you remove any kind of residual soap and the brows are laying flat to the skin, then you can apply a product afterwards just to fill in any little gaps. I'm using a product called Dip Brow Gel from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And just with a little angle brush, I'm taking that product from the back of my hand and I'm going to apply this anywhere where we can see tiny little gaps just to really make these brows look fluffy and full. And I think the secret is to do it in very kind of gradual and slow motions. So we're going to do lashes now. I'm using my favourite lash curlers. These are the Kevin
Mine
ones.
too.
Are they your favourite too?
Yes.
They are the best, these ones. I think there's just something about the shape of them. When you squeeze them, they really give a beautiful curl to the lashes. So actually a little tip when curling the lashes is I always start at the base of the lash and then curl again closer to the tip of the lash. And what that helps to do is to create that kind of gradual curl throughout the lashes rather than just a kind of 360-degree. Straight away, I'm going to follow that with your favourite mascara. This is so beautiful on your beautiful lashes, this mascara. And I think a nice little tip when you're applying your mascara is you really want the lashes to surround the eye like a fan. Lashes in the outer part of the eye should face outwards, then the lashes in the middle part of the eye should face straight up, and the lashes in the inner part of the eye should face inwards. And then you get these beautiful lashes that really just surround the eye like a fan. I'm going to do bottom lashes now. Some people just like to have their mascara on the top lashes, but I personally think to have mascara on bottom lashes really helps to frame the eye. And Tatiana has beautiful bottom lashes, so I always think it's a shame not to show them off. Little tip when doing bottom lashes is just to use the tip of the mascara wand, because that way you can really coat the lashes with mascara. So eyes are done, and that's a really kind of simple, wearable daytime, no makeup look. So now I'm going to move on to finishing the skin. I'm using a cream blush now. This is by a brand called Honest Beauty, which is a really lovely clean beauty brand. And this is such a pretty product. I'm just using a synthetic brush to really press this into the apples of the cheeks. Especially for these winter months, I feel like a little bit of blush really helps to just add some life and brighten the skin. Also, a nice little tip when applying your blush is you can take it over the bridge of the nose.
I always do that.
Do you?
Yeah.
I just think it's quite a sweet place to have a little bit of extra colour. And I just think blush just makes you look instantly healthy. So pretty. This shade is called Peony Pink, and it's so perfect for you. And now by the same brand, Honest, I'm just using an invisible blurring powder. I love powders like this because you can use them to set foundation, but you can also use them throughout the day to touch up. So actually if you're applying your makeup in the morning and then you just want to kind of make sure that it's perfect as the day goes on, then you can just use a little bit of a powder like this, just to kind of add more airbrushed effect to the skin. As you can see, I'm using quite a tiny little brush to apply this. That's because I don't want to overload the skin with powder. I think especially in these winter months when skin can be a little bit drier, it's quite important to be careful where you apply it. So I'm really just focusing on the center of the face, under eyes to set that concealer, a little bit in the middle of the forehead and around the nose area here. All the places that we don't want to have that natural glow. So we're moving on to lips now, and I'm going to line the lips with just a really natural pink shade. This is a shade called Hex from a brand called Melt Cosmetics. And I'm just taking this around the outer edge of the lip line, very softly. And then I'm going to press a little bit of balm just in the center. So I'm using now the Tata Harper Volumizing Lip and Cheek Tint, which, as it kind of says on the tin, you can use on lips and cheeks. And I love a multi-purpose product for that reason. It's just so nice to be able to pop something in your handbag.
This product lives in my bag.
Yeah, it's always good to have a product like that. It smells gorgeous, and actually it's a really lovely nourishing texture, so it will give you a beautiful dewy finish on cheeks or that lovely balmy finish on lips. So this is actually such a pretty rosy tone, and I think actually with this really natural look on eyes, to have this really beautiful rosy pout works perfectly. And there is our finished daytime look. Now I'm going to show you how to take this beautiful day look to an even more fabulous evening look. And this is the most exciting part for me, adding those extra touches that really add drama. Using the same technique with a pencil, just sketching now all the way along the top lash line and actually just bringing that shape out in the outer corner of the eye and almost kind of colouring in this half triangle. And the beautiful thing about using a soft kohl pencil is you don't need to be too precise, because then you use your brush afterwards to blend out and perfect that shape. You can kind of see that basis of the shape that we've put in so far. And I'm also going to put a little bit of that pencil just kind of a third of the way along the bottom lash line. And once that's on, you then use a brush to blend out and create that smokiness. So I think the secret to creating a smoky eye while still keeping it flattering and natural is all in the blending. The idea with blending is you want to do soft and small motions, not anything too firm. You don't want to drag the lid or the product around. So as you can see, I'm almost barely touching Tatiana as I do this, just softly blending that pencil out to create this soft smokiness. And exactly the same underneath the eye, not worrying about how low that product comes, because I think the most important thing is that with a look like this, you don't see any hard lines, you just see a soft blended edge. So that's the first step to the look. I'm going to do exactly the same now for the other eye. And look up for me. Another little tip when creating the perfect shape for this winged out smokiness for your eye is the angle of that liner at the top. Instead of following the top lash line, should actually follow the bottom lash line. So the easiest way to see this on yourself is if you look straight ahead in the mirror, and then you can kind of judge exactly where your bottom lashes bring that up, and that is the angle that your liner should be. If it's any higher, it will look slightly wrong for the eyes, and if it's any lower, it may pull the eye shape down. Now I'm taking a brown shadow and I'm just going back over the top of that liner, and this is just to set it and make sure that it lasts all night long. So exactly the same way. So now that we've applied that eyeshadow, I just want to really give some extra intensity along the lash line. And that's what helps to really achieve this cat eye shape. I'm using a gel liner. This is a Ilia Cosmetics gel liner. This one is my favorite because it stays really black and really fluid from the moment you open the pot right till the end. Also using a tiny little art brush. I always like to use this brush, as I find that brushes that you find from an art store often stay together better than cosmetic brushes. So they're perfect for liner. So what I'm doing is I'm keeping that brush really close to the lash line and really thin in the inner part of the eye. As we get to the outer part of the eye, I'm slightly bringing that shape up. And that's what really helps to emphasize that almond shape of the eye and give us that cat-shaped liner. And the great thing about applying a gel liner after you've used that pencil liner in the technique that we did earlier is it kind of does the hard work for you. You've already created that shape with a pencil, and now you're just going over it along the lash line to really add intensity, and you've got a shape to follow from that pencil before. Now I just want to add a tiny little touch to this look, and this just gives something a little bit pretty and special that's perfect for evening. I'm using an Hourglass Scattered Light eyeshadow in the shade Reflex. What I'm doing, instead of putting this all over the lid, I'm just using a brush just to press in the center of the lid. And that way you can kind of add a little bit of sparkle and shimmer to your eye look while still keeping it flattering. It's just so pretty as the light catches and when you blink too. Pretty color this one too. It's kind of like a soft, warm nude almost. So now that the eyes are done, I want to add a little bit more sculpting to the skin just to help to balance that look. So I'm going to add a little bit of sculpting now. I'm using an angled brush, and this fits the shape of the face perfectly. It just slots under Tatiana's cheekbones and really helps to kind of add that contouring in the softest, most natural way. I'm using a bronzing powder by Colour Science just to add that kind of depth and warmth. So a little tip when applying your bronzing powder is you want to kind of apply it anywhere that you imagine the sun would hit. So if the sun's above you, it's going to first touch the top of the forehead, cross the bridge of the nose, and also cheekbones. I'm just going to finish the look now with a little bit of highlighter. I'm using the Dior Backstage Glow palette, and I'm just going to dust that with a small brush just at the top of cheekbones, just to give us a subtle glow. But you can put your highlighter anywhere you want it. You can bring it down over shoulders. You can put a little bit of the bridge of the nose. I'm actually going to take an even smaller brush than this one too. And with that, I'm going to add a little bit of that highlighter just into the inner part of the eyes here. And also Cupid's bow. This is a really lovely place to apply highlighter that helps to cheat that fuller looking pout. And there's our finished look. You look so beautiful.